Yeah, they see me on top and they get mad cause they can't top me. Got me running up the skull when they even matter cause they can't stop me. Yeah, they see them trying to watch me and they trying to copy and it's looking sloppy. Yeah, we about to get it popping, talking non-stop. Can I get a copy? Yeah, they see me on top and they getting mad cause they can't top me. Got me running up the skull when they... Make money, make money, make money, then you take money, take money, take money.
Hello and welcome back to KSB TV YouTube channel. I'm your host, BlaKC HEXican. Got started a little early today because I am excited, happy to be here. My guest is already here, so might as well get into it. So I'm a couple minutes early, so I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to share out the link so we can get some more people here in the chat room. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to update you on where we are with my CryptoConvos.eth wallet. As you guys know, I created a new wallet for educational purposes. It's essentially to be a guide for people coming in new to crypto, a strategy that we are creating together on how we are going to DCA our way into this cryptocurrency space. So the wallet is CryptoConvos.eth. So you can follow along with it at home by going to Etherscan. Just type that in, and then you can see exactly what's in that wallet. Right now, it's funded with about 0.099 ETH. So you guys know that 2 days ago, we talked to Randy Hilarski, and he recommended that to get started, somebody just coming in should probably try to accumulate about 0.25 to 0.5 ETH. So I'm thinking about doing that. I'm thinking about going with a quarter of an ETH to get started before we start looking at different altcoins. If you're not familiar with the term altcoin, it's just short for alternative coin. And that's basically any coin that is alternative to Bitcoin. So before we really get into the altcoins, I think we're going to try and accumulate a little bit of an ETH back, and then start looking at, what our next investment will be after that. From talking to Moon King yesterday, we had to talk to the Moon King, right? Because why do people get in crypto? They want to go to the moon. So we learned a lot from Moon King as far as like playing around in the meme space world. But what I really took away from that was that wasn't his first crypto. If you're brand new to crypto, we're not looking at being risky, at gambling, at just going in from crypto to crypto to crypto, hoping for that next 10,000x. We're looking for something a lot more stable, something with a lot more potential for long-term return. And so that is why we have our guest here today, because if anybody understands the idea of playing the long game and delayed gratification, that is our guy, Crypto Coffee. How you doing,
everybody? How you doing, BlaKC HEXican? Good to be here.
Yes, it is good to see you. How's it going on your side of the U.S.?
It's good over here. A little cold, but getting by. Enjoying the pump. I mean, what more can you ask for? 6
right?
1 month ago, we were at 1.7. So sorry, haters. We're at 6 now.
And I was screaming it to the mountaintops. Buy now. Now is the time. I know that I increased my portfolio during that 3 cent, 2 cents phase. I hope a lot of other people did as well.
Yeah, it's hard. You got to get as close as you possibly can without giving financial advice. But, I can only tell people what I'm doing or what I would do or what I think looks like an opportunity. And at the end of the day, it's up to you to make that decision. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
I love that saying. I've always believed that.
Mm-hmm.
So for the people out there, and I know a lot of people in our community know who you are, but there's probably a couple of new people out there who they're like, who's this guy? How did he get into crypto?
Mm-hmm.
How did he get into HEX? So let's just go through a little bit of your background.
Yeah, well, been here for a while. Started in 2015. After getting my first big boy job, working in a finance company. I worked in a finance company for 2 years, tech company for 5 years, building apps and websites for Fortune 500 companies. The the whole time I was just thinking, how do I get the hell out of here? I do not want to do this till the day I die. It's basically, I mean, look, it's first world problems to a degree, but at the same time, I didn't fit in with corporate culture, especially not white collar culture. And I just figured to myself, you know, if I have to do this, work for 40 years, get a 401k, retire, that's not the life I want to live at all. I want to move around freely. I want to be my own boss. I want to have the freedom. I mean, getting rich is one thing, but I think what people really mean when we're talking about getting rich is being free from economic slavery, essentially. So, I realized that at a pretty young age, and I realized that, you know, I tried to educate myself on personal finance, everything in the traditional system, stocks, bonds, real estate, CDs. You know, I was looking into robo advisors that would reallocate your portfolio, you know, stuff that was just safe, tried and true, like diversified index funds, really, it's fine. It's better than putting your money in a savings account. But look, you invest in Vanguard ETFs and you're lucky to triple your money in 30 years. Whereas you know, crypto, you can triple your money in a weekend. So when I came across crypto, I had heard about crypto in probably 2011, 2012. Probably the same way a lot of people heard about crypto through the Silk Road, right? Obviously, I just heard about it. Would never dare to use something like that. I'm a citizen of the law. But no, I heard about it, and I might know a guy or two that used it. And it's kind of embarrassing when you think about the amount of money, the amount of Bitcoin you spent on a gram of weed in 2012. You know, hundreds of thousands of dollars today, but nobody was thinking about that. And me and my friends used to joke in college, oh, what if we started a Bitcoin mining farm? Oh yeah, wouldn't that be funny? We've got all these old computers. The sad thing is we could have done it. We were aware of Bitcoin. We were all in tech. You know, I come from an engineering background, so we all knew what it was, but nobody really took it seriously. And then I started taking this whole crypto thing seriously in about 2015. Once I started making my own money, looking into different ways of getting ahead, just because I felt like the rat race. With the rat race, you never get ahead. That's how I felt. You work a 9-to-5 job, you work really hard, and 2 or 3 years later, you get a promotion, and guess what? Inflation went up too, so you're barely keeping your head above water. Now, when I first got to crypto, I saw exchanges like Poloniex and Bitrex and what's some of the early ones? BitMEX, Bitrex, HitBTC, all these scammy, crappy exchanges. And I thought, like a lot of people probably do, that trading was going to be the way. That's how you do it, crypto. I mean, still a lot of people think that. You talk to somebody on the street, you mention crypto, you say, oh, I'm in crypto. They say, oh, so you're a trader, so you trade. No, not at all. That's what probably 90, maybe 80% of people do in crypto, but that is not how anybody makes real money in crypto. But it took me a long time to learn that. So I remember looking at the screen and seeing these coins pump, 50% in one day, sometimes even 100%. And I was just scouring all the forums. Back then it was bitcointalk.com. These forums you would get on and try to find the next pump and dump and try to, and I was like, oh, if I could just time these pumps and these giant green candles, somehow figure out a way to time and beat the system, I can get rich here. So I identified the opportunity. I identified that there was something here, but I was going about it all wrong. I thought trading was the way. I thought chasing shit coins was the way. I was trying to chase the altcoin of the month, everything with a white paper and a dream behind it. I was like, bye. Just because I read the white paper, I used a lot of big words. I felt smart because I understood those big boy words. It's all vaporware, or it was all vaporware. And it was all promises, empty promises, especially in 2015. So after trading, I probably lost tens of Bitcoins, tens of Bitcoin trading, and losing 20 or 30 Bitcoin back in the day. That was only like losing, $10,000, $20,000, because I would just keep getting my paychecks, putting it into the meat grinder, losing, getting my paycheck, meat grinder, lose, rinse, repeat, right? For years. I tried trading strategies. I tried learning how to code my own trading strategies. None of this shit works, because at the end of the day, the people with more money than you that are closer to the exchange, with insider informations, with institutional grade strategies behind them, are going to beat you every time. You think you're smarter than the market. You're 100% not. You're wasting your time. You're killing your relationships with your friends and family, loved ones, because you're staring at a screen for 12 hours a day, thinking that you're somehow going to outsmart the people with more money and resources than you that have been doing this for decades. So you need to get over that. I'm lucky that I got over that early on in my crypto career. And it's not a matter of if you're going to lose money trading, it's a matter of when. And I really hope and pray that people that have trading on their mind lose money fast and quit and give up on their vision of trading. Real day traders, professional day traders spend about 2 hours a day day trading. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're coming for. They're in and they're out. You retail guy sitting on the couch pretending to be a trader, you're just LARPing. You're fooling yourself, and that's not what people want to hear, but there is a better way. Lucky for you. It's called buying, holding, sitting on your ass and doing nothing at all. It really is the most boring non-financial advice I could give, but where was I? Back to the 2017 bubble, rode the shitcoin wave all the way up, rode it all the way back down, lost 90% of my net worth, still had enough. The crazy thing is, like, prices go up so much that even with a 90% dip, I was still up a little bit on my little nest egg than I ever put in originally. So, I rode it. Let's say I rode it up to like $500,000 and rode it all the way back down to 50K. Well, that 50K is still more than I started with, right? So I was just happy to have what little I still had. So I had this euphoria, had this epic pain, death moment. But then I had to ask myself, do I believe in this? Is it going anywhere? And do I still want to participate? And the answer was obviously yes. I didn't want to give up. I knew there was opportunity. I just figured I didn't buy the right coins and I didn't get out at the right time. And that was kind of true. And I was also playing hot potato with different coins because I didn't have a long-term mindset. I had no idea what was going on, right? And then Richard came onto the scene about 2017, 2018, calling out all the bullshit in the markets, all these fake influencers that dump coins on their head the moment after they show it on YouTube. And then they've got a Bybit referral link in their description to get you hooked on gambling and trading because they make money whether or not you win or lose. They're essentially the house. When you click somebody's referral link, they make money no matter what. So these scumbag influencers out there making money, selling you to the meat grinder and pimping you out. Richard was calling out all that bullshit, and he was also talking a lot of stuff that made a lot of sense about the meaning of crypto and why it was invented. Not your keys, not your coins. Real cypherpunk kind of an ethos that I really, that's why I came to crypto in the first place. It was about, fuck the man, fuck the system, be your own bank. There's no need for anybody to tell you what to do. Crypto in general is supposed to be censorship resistant, peer-to-peer digital money, store value, whatever narrative you want to put on it. But it's basically self-sovereignty, right? It democratizes value transfer, just like the internet democratized information. So it brings power back to the people. And I think Richard really was able to resonate with that and portray it in an eloquent way that I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to this guy, see what he's all about. For a while, he was a Bitcoin maxi. He used to hate on Ethereum, and he changed his mind about 2018, 2019 when he realized that you can build smart contracts that don't suck. Because a lot of the smart contracts on Ethereum in 2017, pure vaporware, no use case or crazy niche utility that was unnecessary that nobody cared about. That was pretty much every coin. I think Richard basically realized, hey, I can use smart contracts for good. Ethereum is battle tested enough, hasn't been hacked, and even if it does get hacked, the developers just roll back the chain, like what happened in the DAO hack back in the day. People probably don't even remember this, but anyway, the first token he came up with before HEX was called CFD token. So he was trying to do useful proof of work for a long time. Computational fluid dynamics token was a way for. Basically, he was going to make useful mining. Instead of wasting electricity to pollute the environment to mine Bitcoin, he was going to make a coin that did useful math that takes computers a long time to do and, pump out a coin from that mining, but have that mining be productive and used for science. Then he figured, that's too niche. And by that time, I was like, sure, man, whatever you say, I'm all in. CFD token, let's do it. Because, they probably would have worked, but luckily for us, he switched to HEX, in later 2017, early 2018. And at first it was called Bitcoin HEX, but it appealed to a larger audience because it replaced a $7 trillion market. Because the goal of crypto is to replace all the products at a bank, he figured, why not start with the second most popular product after a checking account? What is it? It's a certificate of deposit, a time deposit. Depending on where you're from, it's called different things. Giant market, and basically just admitting the fact that everybody just buys this stuff because they think it's going to go up anyway. And they want to get money, and the road to mass adoption, people aren't going to buy it if they don't think they're going to get rich on it. So in a way, it's like the one time where incentives align with people's greed, people's own individual greed ends up being what's best for everybody, right? So through us wanting to get rich and free, we tell more people about it. We onboard more people into this better ecosystem. And then by the time all the mad gains are gone, well, at least we're left with a parallel financial ecosystem where we can operate freely and transact without any government jurisdiction telling us what to do with only 12 words memorized in our head. So he really got the dream of crypto, and I was just on board ever since then. So 2019 came around, Hex launched right at the end of 2019. I was a Bitcoin maximalist during the 2018 bear market because it seemed like the smart thing to do a lot. And I like to say I'm a recovering Bitcoin maxi, right? It's like I'm a recovering alcoholic. But the Bitcoin maxis seemed really smart at the time because, yeah, all the shitcoins died and most of them were crap. 99% of them were actually garbage. So the Bitcoin maxis came out of the woodworks, saying like, yeah, we were right, you were wrong, haha. But they missed the diamond in the rough, the once in a lifetime opportunity that's not Bitcoin, that's still pretty good, which are things like Ethereum and things like Hex and probably a handful of other things. I'm not saying all coins are bad, but there's maybe 20 to 30 that are even worth looking into at all. But real DeFi is what I'm talking about. Real DeFi is what I'm into. So Richard turned me on to the fact that it doesn't have to only be Bitcoin. There's other things that don't suck. Say what you want about things like Chainlink or whatever, Aave, but these protocols are necessary building blocks, and yeah, they're going to be iterated on. They might not be the final version of what they end up being, but all of these decentralized DeFi protocols are building the parallel financial ecosystem. We need lending, we need margin trading, but we need this all decentralized if we're going to make DeFi what it was really supposed to be. So here we are. We're here in 2023. Bought in with almost all my Bitcoin in the early days of Hex, and then after Hex proved itself, later in 2020, I said, screw it, I'm going in with the rest of my stack. So no longer hold any Bitcoin at all, pretty much into Hex alone. I hold some Ethereum. I hold a couple of other small bags of stuff, but 90% Hex. And I'm really excited for the future. Obviously, we're in a great position right now. 90% off of all-time highs. Still, you might think Hex is pumping 6 cents. Yes, it is. You might think it's too late. Guess what? It's still 90% off of all-time highs. So does that sound like a good deal to you if you believe that it's going to be around in the next cycle? Because it does to me. And here we are, right with Pulse Chain on the verge of launch sometime this year. Fingers crossed. And this is the history that I want to be a part of. So I'm just happy I found all this stuff. And I know it resonates because it's easy to be here, and it's easy to talk about and try to get adoption when you have the truth on your side, when you know that you're in it for the right reasons, which again, yeah, it's getting rich, and we're not beating around the bush here. We all want to get rich. If it makes you feel better, we could say we all want to get free. But as a nice little side effect, we have a global financial revolution. Sounds like a win-win to me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, your story is very interesting. I didn't know that much about you as far as like your finance background and
a little
whatnot.
Finance, a little tech. I think I left out the part where I left out all the failed side hustles too. I had like
Right?
a web design company, attempted company, right?
Yeah, you sold coffee too, right? Isn't that where the name comes
coffee
from?
E-commerce company, social media marketing agency. Tried to sell coffee online and accept crypto in return, and then realized that nobody wants to do that. People just want to hoard their crypto. They don't want to spend it on coffee, right? So that was a terrible idea, but hey, that's where the name came from, actually. That was my previous endeavor before starting the YouTube channel that was mainly Hex focused. And I just figured, why not keep the name? I've already got, the trademark and everything. Just keep the name.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
So let's go a little deeper into Hex, right? Because for you to hold 90% of your portfolio in it, you have to have conviction in why you believe in it. So you made a statement about there are things that are better. What makes Hex better? What makes it better than Bitcoin?
I mean, it's isolated modular code for one. It's finished. It's complete. There's no updates. Every time you update the Bitcoin protocol, every time you update even Ethereum, you introduce potential new attack surface, a potential new 0-day bug, a bug that's never been discovered yet. This has happened in Bitcoin twice. It's happened in Ethereum once, but they rolled back the chain. And it could happen again to all these protocols that are constantly being worked on. Now, the base layer protocol does have to be kind of a work in progress to a degree, but the cool thing is that with smart contracts like Hex, you can abstract one level away from the smart contract. So, Hex is built on Ethereum. Imagine it's a train car, and Ethereum is the railroad tracks. Okay, so This train car is complete, immutable, solid code, triple audited, never been hacked, 100% uptime after 3 years, more than 3 years. It doesn't get any safer than that from a purely, computer science protocol perspective. It's isolated away. You can't mess with it. There's no admin keys, no backdoors. Nobody can change up the rules of the system. If all the miners in Bitcoin collude against, retail, for example, they can just go ahead and make a new fork and all decide to go mine that new fork of Bitcoin. I mean, people don't like to talk about this, but if governments from around the world got control of the mining, let's say the World Economic Forum clamps down on mining pools worldwide and, decides to buy them all out or make legislation that would make it hard for any retail or private companies to continue mining. Well, that'd be terrible because then you'd just basically be at the whim of whatever the new rules are that are dictated by a centralized authority. So Bitcoin mining is a bit centralized. You've got that risk. You've got jurisdictional risk and all that. I mean, it's a low risk, right? I think they're going to let it go, but it's still a risk. You don't have to worry about that at all with Hex. And if the Ethereum network ever gets compromised, you just port it over to a new blockchain, which is basically what's happening right now. Mm-hmm. Ethereum is a pretty good house, pretty good home for Hex to live on, but the fees are way too high. It shouldn't cost $20 to do a transaction. How are you going to onboard your mom and dad if it costs them $20 just to even get in? Mm-hmm. Or how are you going to onboard your friend at the bar if, he's got to download MetaMask and now it costs him $5 to buy Hex, $15 to swap it, another $10 to stake it. It's a mess. So because it's EVM compatible, it's a smart contract. Remember, like it's an isolated train car. You just copy that train car over to a different set of railroad tracks, and that's Pulse Chain. So that's why it's so beautiful just from a design perspective, not to mention the tokenomics. People look into the tokenomics. I mean, if you actually do look into the tokenomics, familiarize yourself with the share system and how that works. It abstracts compound interest. It replicates compound interest by turning, instead of having to do all the math for compound interest, which a blockchain can't compute that level of exponential numbers, you abstract it one layer away and you say, okay, there's these things called shares. And so every time you're staking Hex, you're actually buying shares in the system. And every time you're unstaking Hex, you're burning shares. But because shares get more expensive in Hex terms, shares are effectively deflationary over time. I mean, not in a straight line. It's a complex system, but shares get more and more scarce as time goes on. And so you realize that there's these really cool tokenomics that I don't want to fully get into, but that's another reason that Hex is so awesome. Obviously immutable, never been hacked, peer-to-peer, replaces a $7 trillion market. It's got product market fit. People don't talk about that value prop enough. I mean, time deposits are a worldwide global thing that people are already familiar with. So you don't have to waste your time. If, let's say you're talking to a guy from traditional finance, you don't have to waste your time reinventing the wheel and talking about all this blockchain crap that I just talked about. You can just say, hey, time deposits, right? Mm-hmm. The longer you lock your money, the more interest you get. Well, Hex is like that, except it pays yield, and the yield is only paid from inflation. There's no centralized authority paying you the yield. The coin simply inflates itself, and that inflation rate is programmed into the code. And that yield that the inflation generates every year is paid to the staking class, the people that choose to stake and forego being able to spend their coins. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so many cool things. Where do I can just keep going, but testimonials, community, founder, right, website, better colors. What other crypto is pink and yellow? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't think of any other, I'd never wear a Wells Fargo shirt, right? But I have more Hex shirts and Pulse Chain shirts than,
it just looks cool.
than you could probably imagine.
Yeah.
But the one thing I think,
better website, hex.com, rolls off the tongue, rhymes with sex. Come on.
True that. So I think the one thing that I hear all the time, especially as we were in this bear market, is that I missed it. And I think you even mentioned it earlier. I missed Hex. It already did its 10,000x. Do you believe that Hex has the potential to do another 10,000x, or does it even matter?
Yeah, I definitely believe over a long enough time scale. It might not do another 10,000x on this cycle, but in 2 cycles, probably. I think it sounds pretty fair. And by the way, it did a 10,000x and then it dipped 90%. that means it's only at 1,000x, and we're measuring from all-time low, right? Not many people even got the all-time low. So a lot of people that got in early were sitting on a couple of 100x's, and that's life-changing enough. Okay, so you should be happy with a couple 100x's. This whole 10,000x narrative, it's a flashy headline, right? The price chart is the best billboard you could possibly have. The price chart's the best advertising. It speaks for itself. But nobody buys the absolute bottom, and nobody sells the absolute top. So you're going to get some gains in the middle there, and that's good enough. That should be good enough, because a 10x, even a 10x in the traditional financial system is mind-blowing. You know, people that made money on Tesla, that doesn't happen very often. Tesla did a couple 100x. That's a very rare case in the traditional system. So crypto is where it's at if you want real life-changing generational wealth. It's the biggest opportunity. It's the biggest wealth transfer in human history. And you're still early, because we're at 90% discount from all-time highs. And when you just have to have conviction that crypto is not going anywhere. The more you can learn about it, the more you can familiarize yourself. You start to say, oh my God, this is unstoppable code. You can't shut it off, because there's decentralized nodes around the entire world. You have to knock on 10,000 people's doors at a time, you know, with guns and ammo, and it just doesn't work out. Like, the decentralized nature of blockchain technology makes it unstoppable. And when people see that, you realize that no matter what the government is all frantic about today, whatever they're trying to shut down, for the most part, they go after centralized entities, because for something like Bitcoin, something like Ethereum, something like Hex, there's nothing to go after. There's no central authority to go after. The cat's already out of the bag. You know, the Pandora's out of the box, so to speak. You can't put it back in. So people are going to wrestle with that in different ways. Some people are going to throw a tantrum. Some people are going to try to grasp on to how do we control this? You can't control it. It's just out. You either buy it or you don't. You either hop on the rocket ship, or you just sit around and watch as we go back up. New all-time highs, 1,000x maybe in this cycle, maybe. But hey, even if we only go up 100x in this cycle, I mean, if you're doing it right, if you're dollar cost averaging, and you're working a job and stacking paychecks and patience, right? Patience. Nobody gets rich overnight. It's a get rich slow scheme. You know, people say it's like winning the lottery in slow motion. So if you're okay with that, I'll take a 5-year retirement plan over a 40-year retirement plan any day of the week. I mean, it's not that bad in the grand scheme of your life.
Exactly. So I think that was a perfect segue into
I like that. Wait, what kind of, was that from a Halloween party or something?
I have no clue. You know, Canva is like my new best friend.
Oh, that's some stock footage? Okay.
Yeah, I just be going through there, and then I add all my husband's music to like everything, so I don't get copyright strikes.
Hey, that's a safe way to do it.
So if you guys have not seen my Truth or Dare segment before, we will spin the wheel to see if it lands on Truth or Dare, or possibly Player's Choice, and then he gets to decide. Whatever we get, whatever way it goes, Truth or Dare, then we will spin another wheel to decide on what question. I don't decide the questions. The wheel decides the question. Okay. If you cannot handle it, if the dare is too spicy or the truth is too truthful, then you can opt out and send one of our viewers $50 of the crypto of your choice, which I'm guessing if it's your choice, it's probably Hex.
Yeah.
But are you ready to spin the wheel?
Yeah, as long as I don't have to get naked, I'm down. And maybe even if I did.
Oh gosh. We'll save that for the Hex cruise.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, 3 in a row, all true.
All right. Truth is the easy one.
Dares. I'm ready for some dares. I got to get this wheel fixed.
Yeah, it's rigged.
All right. All right, let's see what the truth is.
Truth is easy. I'm not big on lying anyway.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Are you into NFTs at all?
You know, this is really easy because I've never bought an NFT with money, but I have had a lot of people just give them to me.
Send them to
and
you.
Look, I'm not complaining. Like, I'll take your free NFTs. That's fine. But no, I've never dished out any money for that.
Wow. You heard it here, folks. Coffee has never purchased an NFT.
Look, I mean, I never understood what it was all about. Why would I pay
Well,
20 Ethereum for a picture of a rock?
hold on though. Wait a minute. I might be able to call bullshit
Okay.
because what about the Watsa?
Oh, you got me. I didn't even think about that. I did not think about that as an
Hey.
NFT. You got me on that. You know, NFTs have a bad name, I think, because of shit like Bored Ape Yacht Club and all. I mean, look, no offense to the Bored Ape guys, but or the Ether Rock guys. But yeah, no, I did buy. And if you want to go one farther, I guess I've had some NFTs based on liquidity positions. Because every time you do a liquidity position, you get an NFT that represents how much liquidity you have. So yeah, I've done liquidity NFTs. I've done We Are All the Source Address NFTs. For those that don't know, that's just like a Hedron thing. And it was a one-time deal for the first 2 weeks that Hedron launched. You were able to buy these NFTs that basically give you a portion of ICOSA yield every day. And then it's like last man standing. So you can only unstake it one time, but once they're burned, they're gone forever. You can never get another one ever again. So yeah, I'm diamond handing those for as long as it takes. I want to be the last guy.
Well, I'm still in the hunt too, so I'm gonna see if I can outlast you.
You got yours? Nice, nice.
Yes, absolutely. I see that there's somebody on Twitter that posts like every time somebody burns one. I'm feeling like he's gonna want to be the last man standing as well.
Dev Huey, right?
Yeah,
Dev
that's
Huey.
it. Yeah.
I love seeing those numbers go down every day. It's like 4 NFTs burned. I'm like,
Yeah. So that leads me to my question that I try to ask everybody, right? Because what I'm really aiming to do here is create a strategy for new people coming in. So you're brand new to crypto, you don't have a whole lot of confidence in the system or what it's really about. You're like, yeah, I want to dibble, but I'm not going to go full back. I'm not just going to throw thousands of dollars in there. First buy maybe $200, and then like you said, every paycheck another 100, $200, or whatever it is that fits to you. What are you recommending that they do with that initial purchase and with their additional DCAs?
You're trying to get me in trouble here, aren't you? No, it's not. First of all, I am not a financial advisor, and I do not give financial advice. That is something I will never, ever do. I can lead a horse to water. I can't make them drink. What I would personally do, but I would never tell anybody what to do with their money. What I would actually tell people to do is learn how to think for yourself and learn how to have conviction in what you're buying before you end up buying it. But what I would personally look for is something that's going to stand the test of time. I wouldn't want to. And yeah, you got to be early, right? You got to be early to make the outsized gains. But I'd rather buy 3-year-old Hex than 13-year-old Bitcoin, right? Mm-hmm. I'd rather make 100,000x than a wimpy little 5x. If you're lucky on Bitcoin, because the thing about older coins is that even if they are solid, like Bitcoin's not going anywhere, right? But it's got so much liquidity at this point, meaning it's a heavier object to move. So it takes more money to push the price around. Whereas some big whale, some institution could come along and Hex any day and drop a couple $1 million in there and pump the price up like triple in one day. It's more fun, and it's also more. The price you pay for the mad gains is extreme volatility. So you got to realize what game you're playing. If you're buying these lower cap coins, these lower, I shouldn't even say cap, right? These lower liquidity coins. If you're going to play in these lower liquidity, newer coins, make sure they're audited, make sure they're fully decentralized, make sure they don't have backdoors and admin keys. Once you pass those tests, look around, say, does it have a community behind it? And does it have a narrative that's going to span multiple years? So Hex was designed where we got people making 15-year stakes. The average weighted stake length in Hex is 7 years, meaning people are voting with their money, and money is speech, right? So they're basically saying that I believe in Hex for at least 7 years. Most people believe in it far, far longer than that. That's really attractive to me. I don't know of any other asset, even in the traditional system, where people lock for 7 years on average. I think this is an anomaly here. So you got tens of thousands of people worldwide, and you don't even have to take the risk anymore, right? You don't even have to be one of those crazy early guys like me buying it in first month or so, first couple of months. Now we've got a track record. It's been out for 3 years now. The price is down 90%. The price is as if you were buying it a year and a half ago. So buying Hex today would be as if you're almost getting in at super early adopter prices still. And I think we have a long way to go because we're not going anywhere. But yeah, look for something that's fully decentralized, it has audits, it's got reputable or at least it has people behind it, right? A reasonable founder, but more importantly, a community that's fanatic, right? There's not a lot of those in crypto, especially at the bottom of a bear. Look who's still here. Look around in crypto and see who's still here. And, at the end of the day, just look also on top of those things. Does it have product market fit? If it doesn't have product market fit, that might not be something that's going to stand the test of time. But I can give you a couple of bullet points. You could write down. Just think long-term. Don't think short-term. Don't trade. Trading sucks. Beware of shiny object syndrome, right? Stick to a couple of investments and make up your mind, and then change your mind very slowly. If some other shiny object comes along, which they're going to in crypto, every 2 weeks, you're going to get pitched some new bullshit that someone just made, last month. And they're called reloading scams. People just make the same schemes that failed last year and 2 years ago and 3 years ago. They put a different label on it, slap a different logo on there, and they try to sell it to you again. And your pleb ass is probably going to fall for it. So don't. Shiny object syndrome is what that's called. And then you got to reprogram your brain, right? You have to flip a lot of common knowledge on its head. Reframe risk as opportunity, right? What's the risk of not getting involved in crypto? What's the risk of working a 9-to-5 at a job you hate for someone you don't like, trying to impress people you don't care about? What's the risk of doing that, right? Risk is opportunity. And again, the price you pay for that risk is extreme volatility. So you need to have the stomach for it. Imagine, what if my bag went down 90%? Would I be okay with that? And if not, it might not be the game for you. You might want to do something safer, like diversified index funds in the stock market. So you got to risk it for the biscuit, right? And then finally, just think for yourself. Have critical thinking. Don't rely on guys like me on YouTube to tell you what to do with your money. Think for yourself. Critical thinking means analyzing your own thought patterns and not just looking to some guru saying, "Daddy, help me. Please tell me what to do with all my money." I don't give financial advice. Neither does BlaKC HEXican here. We're just people on YouTube. We're like fans of a sports team. You know what I mean? So don't rely on a guru to have all the answers. It's very subjective to you and your lifestyle and your own individual psychology too. If you're a risk averse person, well, crypto is incredibly risky. So you either change your psychology or you play a different game. I'd recommend changing your psychology if you can. Abundance thinking over scarcity thinking, real risk over perceived risk, right? Information asymmetry. The more you could educate yourself, the more that perceived risk turns into real risk. And you start to realize that the real risk is not as high as what other people perceive to be the risk. Other people that don't know anything about crypto, they read headlines. FTX lost $5 billion, $10 billion. Oh my God, crypto's a scam. Well, when you learn about what FTX was, that it's just a good old fashioned embezzlement scheme. It's just on a level bigger than Bernie Madoff, I might add. When you realize that that's just good old fashioned money laundering and embezzlement, and there's nothing new under the sun, and that FTX is not real crypto, then you can learn what real crypto really is, which is where you hold your own private keys. You take custody of your own assets and you take the power back into your own hands. And then that goes back to information asymmetry. Now you know what's real crypto, what's BS crypto. BS crypto is holding your money on exchanges, giving your power away to 30-year-old dudes with funny hair that love eating cucumbers, right? That you just gave your money away to an amphetamine-addicted League of Legends addict. Like, make better decisions. But if you're on the right side of that information, right, you can make safer decisions and you can feel better. You literally feel better with more education. So I guess knowledge is power. I guess that's what they say.
Yeah.
And then just look for what makes a coin good. What did I already say, right? Good founder, good community, fully decentralized, audited, testimonials, some product market fit, somewhat of a utility, but utility isn't even as important as people make it. But look for things like that. You'll be all right.
Right. So, I mean, considering that, you're not new to crypto, you've been in it, right? But just thought experiment, wipe the slate clean. Today is your day one, you personally, and you have decided that you're going to buy some HEX with your first investment. Are you staking it? Are you buying it traditionally? Are you going through like Hedron HSI?
I'll tell you what I did to start out, and it's worked out pretty well, is when I started, I tried to time the next bull market. So I made a bunch of stakes right around when I thought the next bull market would be. And then I realized that T-shares matter a lot. And then I went longer, right? So I made a lot of stakes about, from 2 to 4 years in the future. I would never make a stake less than 1 year, just to be clear. Not only are long-term capital gains better than short-term capital gains, you pay way less in taxes, at least in the US. But you give yourself some time for the bull market to come back. I mean, things aren't looking good in the economy right now. And so why not just wait out the bear market in style, get paid to wait out the bear market? Sounds pretty good. So I don't like any shorter stakes less than 1 year. And I like laddering, right? I like making a ladder from year 1 all the way up until year 15. That's what I do. And then I try to fill in the ladder even more with little gaps, maybe every 6 months, maybe even every quarter. My ladder is kind of messy. I did it a little haphazardly because I was learning, just like everybody in the early days. I didn't know what was going on. So a lot of us, we didn't do it perfectly. And even if you're starting today, you're still not going to do it perfectly. But, one kind of benefit so that you don't have to time the market is that you can stagger your stakes in a range where you think the top might be. So when do you think the top of the bull market might be? It might be 2024, it might be 2027. That sounds like a good place to start with your ladder, right? Make a stake every couple of months, 2024 to 2027, and you win some, you lose some. But it sounds pretty okay because that's still over a year away. So that's kind of what, if I was starting right now, I'd probably start with some 2 to 4 year stakes, right? Some time the bull market stakes, and then I'd keep backdating those. I'd keep going farther and farther and farther out. And now that said, make sure you're comfortable with the amount of hex too that you're staking. When I was starting out, I imagined hex being $1, and I was like, okay, if I buy this much hex and hex hits $1, would I be happy with that? And it's just really easy to visualize the $1. Now, if we go beyond $1, well, lucky you, right? But we're at 6 cents right now, so imagine buying dollars for nickels, right? If you could buy dollars for nickels, how many nickels would you buy? How many future dollars would you buy? And I'm speculating, it might never go to $1. Hex could all go to 0 tomorrow, but that's the gamble I'm willing to take.
Now, a lot of people are, aware, even coming in today, that post-chain is potentially around the corner, right? But we also thought that, for the last year at least, that post-chain was around the corner. Does that play into your thoughts as far as whether or not you're going to start a stake here on Ethereum or hold it liquid until post-chain launches and then only stake on post-chain? Does that go into your mindset at all?
No, I don't really think about that. Oops, sorry. I don't really think about that. I just stake because I know the copies are going to happen either way. You're not going to ever get a better T-share rate than today. So if you want to make more yield, if you're going to stake anyway, there's no sense in waiting till post-chain launches. Your stakes are going to get copied too. It's okay. If you're going to stake anyway, you might as well lock it in now, get a better rate. And then you got 2 copies by the time post-chain launches. Now, if you want to keep it liquid to play some games around ratio trading and all that, that's your decision too. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to if I was starting fresh, right, I would have to get my bag of hex all over again. And then I'd focus on getting my bag of pulse chain. But I would make my staking ladder in hex first and foremost. And then I would dollar cost into pulse chain with just more US dollars, right? I wouldn't try to do any of this crazy stuff because, you can do some limit orders, you can do some fancy stuff, but the chance of you losing money is high. And you don't get to blame anybody else when you lose money for trying to think you're smarter than the market. So I would just keep dollar cost averaging into the coins you like. And over a long enough time frame, I think you're going to be okay.
Okay. So what is your take then on those who say things like, you can get a discount on your T-share rate by buying Maxi or Deci, or going through the auction route of the HSIs?
Yeah, those aren't bad ideas. It's for a new person, right? It's a lot to take in. If you're experienced already, if you want to go into those, I'll try to simplify it. But The perpetual contracts are essentially pooled stakes where everybody pooled together their hex a couple months ago, or maybe even 6 months ago now. And they made these giant stakes: a 1 year, a 3 year, a 7 year, a 10 year, and a 15 year. Right now, those are all at discounts to what they should theoretically be in their real price. So if you want to take a time machine back in time, get a cheaper t-share rate, and buy future hex for lower than what hex costs today, those are actually an incredibly good deal today. But you have to actually have the intention of holding. So for example, if you buy Trio, that's the pooled 3-year stake, you should probably intend on actually holding that Trio the entire time and not shaking yourself out. Because the one disadvantage of buying the perpetuals is that they're liquid. So you could fake yourself out, and your own worst enemy in crypto is you. So
yeah, they could stay at discount.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they could. I mean, I have all of them because I intend to hold them, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that they're at a discount means, like, for anybody that's savvy that wants to take advantage of that, that's a great opportunity. If you were gonna make a 7-year stake, or if you were gonna make a 10-year stake anyway, and you've already got those diamond hands. A lot of people that are newer, they might not have those diamond hands yet. I've been trained by Hex to not sell when it's not time to sell. So a lot of people that are newcomers, they don't have that what's the word I'm looking for? Determination, I guess, that discipline. They don't have that discipline.
Yeah.
So I can't help you. Sometimes people have to learn through experience. I can yell and scream diamond hands all day long, but it's easier said than done, right? You might read a news article, you might fudge yourself out, and you might listen to some troll on the internet. You might get you all scared, and then you're out of the game. That sucks, right? So just know that that's what the perpetuals are. The benefits are there's great deals. The downside is you don't have the mechanism that saves yourself from yourself. Now with Hedron, so the cool thing about the Hedron HSIs is you can wrap a stake. For people that don't know, you can take a hex stake and you could wrap it, and that stake becomes a movable object. It's not tied to your wallet anymore. You can send it to somebody else. So a lot of people look at this like, okay, well, if this stake, let's say I made a 5-year stake and it's 3 years into the stake, well, it's got some value, right? So I can probably sell that to somebody else if I wanted to bail on it early. I don't look at HSI wrapped stakes as a bail on it early type of deal. Okay. A lot of people are thinking they might be able to get some value for it if they decide to bitch out, or if they decide to cop out early. That's not how I look at it, but what is a pretty good, what's pretty cool about them is that for security purposes, if you lose your private keys or someone steals your private keys and you've got wrapped stakes, you could potentially beat the hacker to the punch. And if you can get to your wallet first, send all those stakes over to a new wallet, you could potentially save yourself before the hacker has any idea what's going on. So I've heard of that happening to people, and that was the realization, the wake-up call of, oh, that's another thing about wrapped stakes. Not only, you can bail early, but you can also save yourself if you get hacked. Now, I don't do wrapped stakes just because I'm just trying not to get hacked out here. I just don't also want the ability to sell them. I don't think they're going to be, I don't think you're going to be able to sell them for that much, to be honest, up until their expiry date.
Yeah.
But I am starting to really see the value of the security of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I picked up a couple HSI stakes really just because I did the math. They were in auction, and I wanted to do another 5555, right? I wanted to throw some more out there, and I just did the math, and I was, getting like 50% off. Like you could literally just calculate how much Hedron you'd have to buy to, purchase or to be in first place of that auction, and then how much hex was in that stake. And it was kind of a no-brainer. So that was really the only reason that I kind of went into it. It wasn't for the opportunity to sell it, right? I just wanted more bang for my buck.
That's a good point too. I wasn't even considering the auction part. And if you want to make a max length stake, thing about those auctions is that most of them are max length. You know, a lot of people made these 5,555 day stakes because they wanted that 10% ICOSA bonus. So a lot of the stuff that's available to buy is a max length stake. So if you want a max length stake and you want to just YOLO it out for 15 years, yeah, you could probably get some pretty good deals. So keep an eye on that. I made some max length stakes early on, so I got mine. But yeah, if you want to get those dream stakes, Kareem calls them like the dreams, like the dream stakes, right? Like 15 years from now.
Yeah.
We don't even know what life is going to look like. You know, we could be, but you know,
but we do it in our 401ks, right? We throw this money out there for retirement for when you're 60, 70. So I kind of look at it in the same way. I teach my kids crypto. So, you know, God forbid I'm not here. Hopefully they're still here and they can, you know, unstake it or whatnot.
Well, look, I mean, like the internet's been around for 15 years. I don't see why blockchain wouldn't be around for at least 15 years.
Yeah. And then one more incentive was some of those auction HSI stakes have that Hedron like 9 or 10x multiplier on them. So if you don't know, if you have HEX Stakes, they are, you know, constantly making Hedron. Like that Hedron is built, you know, to essentially pump HEX, in that you have something else to sell besides your HEX. So yeah, I like that as well.
Yeah, Hedron's great. I love it. Hedron, ICOSA, I love all that little trifecta over there. It's complicated, but it's cool that when people get into HEX, a lot of people in crypto, they like complexity. So they come and it's what Hedron is it creates speculative stickiness, which is just a nice way of saying it's a new game to play. People stick around longer because they have a new game to play. And it's not necessarily what I intro people with when I'm trying to onboard them, but it's a nice little bonus of, hey, if you got a HEX stake, by the way, you can also mint your Hedron every single day if you wanted to. I mean, you should consider minting your Hedron at the end of your stake because it might be a nice little couple $100 for you, depending on how big your stake is.
Yeah, just more reasons to be bullish about HEX because it's the ecosystem that just keeps giving. I mean, we got airdrop PLSD just for holding HEX or staking HEX. You got Hedron constantly being made. And now we have this communist token that kind of works like Hedron in that it's constantly being made. And I've seen a couple green candles for it over the last few days. So HEX is just like the money printer that keeps printing.
Yeah, and not to mention the airdrops. Like, you know, you got Pulse Dogecoin for free. Made a couple grand off of that. Dumped it. Some of it I sold for more HEX, you know. Some of it I sold for US dollars, and that was pretty nice. But yeah, communist is interesting, right? It's got so many zeros. I almost wish it had a couple less zeros.
It does have a lot of zeros.
Like, I think I have billions. I might even have trillions of it. Like, and that's only like, you know, $1,000 or something.
It was somebody said that they turned their communist bag into a nice bag.
Really?
But I think because we see so many zeros, we're like, oh, I'm just gonna let that do what it does. And that's kind of what happened with Hedron. I didn't bother Hedron because it looked like it was so low. And then by the time I came back to it, I was like, okay.
Yeah. Hedron, I was a little skeptical at first remember how he released Hedron first and he waited 6 months to like flush everyone. I thought that was genius because he was just like, oh, all you non-believers that sold it. Now here's ICOSA. So like, fuck you, basically. It was pretty nice. It was, I'm so glad I didn't dump all my Hedron.
For sure. So we're coming to the end of our hour. I am going to do a couple of KSB standard updates. But before I do that, do you want to share with the viewers where they can follow you, what you got on your horizon, streams, or anything like that?
Yeah, Crypto Coffee 369 on every platform, primarily Twitter and YouTube. I've also got a Patreon if you want to talk, ask me questions. Got a private group there. I can give you a lot of my personal attention, but you got to cough up some money because I have a lot of DMs and I really want to I want to help people out, but I want to make sure you're serious and it's not something you can just Google, right? I've also got a course for people that are brand new to crypto. You can gift it away to somebody. You can buy it for yourself. If you want to educate your mom on how to use crypto and you don't want to hold her hand for 8 hours, All the information you need is in hexpassiveincome.com. It's really, really beginner friendly, and it'll take you from zero to hero, everything you need to know for a pretty cheap price, but you should be willing to invest a little bit in your own education if you're serious about investing at all, right? Otherwise, I'd give it away for free, but if I gave it away for free, nobody would take it seriously. So it's a little bit of money. It's not going to break your bank. And if it does break the bank, you might not be ready for investing in the first place. But yeah, that's all I got to shill. My whole goal is just to educate and onboard the world into cryptocurrency, to make everyone financially free with the power of things like Hex and Pulse Chain and the whole ecosystem. So that's all I do. I just make content, educate, and try to onboard the world, because the user experience and adoption, it's all that matters. So that's it.
Well, I haven't actually asked you in private, so I might be putting you on the spot here, but that's okay. When we get on the Hex cruise, I'm hoping that anyone who's on the boat will have a little bit of an opportunity to get some of that wonderful education that you have access to. We have secured a private space where we will be doing about an hour and a half workshop on the cruise. It was requested by some of our new and no coiners that are coming on the cruise. And so to me, I mean, you're one of the best people at breaking it down to the most basic, simple, easy to understand levels. So we would love for you to be a part of that educational session. Not going to take your whole vacation from you,
Thank you.
But maybe an hour of your time.
Yeah, that's no problem. I mean, if there's an audience that's willing to learn, I'm down.
You guys heard it here first. We'll have RG3, Crypto Coffee, KSB Lion, Crypto Kool-Aid, a lot of really, really educated, smart Hexicans on the boat with us, providing you with some, one-on-one information outside of the general course that we'll be putting on. If you want more information about the Hex Cruise, it is April 24th through the 28th. You can go to hexcruise.com. I have been watching the prices religiously and the inventory. A few more rooms went back into the system today, and that made the prices go down a little bit. So if you are interested in going on the cruise, I would definitely get in contact with me in the next couple of days, because you never know when those prices are just going to go right back up. The last 3 weeks, the prices have been really high. So hit me up today or in the next few days if you think you want to hang with us on the Hex Cruise. That is pretty much all that I have for you guys today. Tomorrow is for the ladies. I love my Fridays because I love my Hex and crypto ladies. I have a beautiful lineup tomorrow. We have SJ Wild, we have Fashion Coder, we have Sammy Chica, and we have Hot Pearl on panel tomorrow. So tune in for that same time every day, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Crypto Coffee, thank you so much for joining me here today. You have been excellent. I always appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. See you guys next time.